Oh, Gershon, give me one.
Let's go.
Podcast.
Except
Podcast.
We got a
ice cream,
lot
other
of
things on the field.
we got a lot of playoff baseball ahead. Playoff softball is coming Sunday. It's the time of year where everybody lives and dies for. It's winner go home for the Legacy League. It is a best of really a playing game for the Titan League, followed by the game ones of our best of three for our Titan League. We got a lot of and I'll tell you to put it on, to make everything more special. We have three matchups, four matchups really, but taking my game out versus the winner of the Wahoos and Robins, we had three matchups that are unbelievable matchups, not just competitively, talently, but also off the field, which again we, are very into. No, for real at HSL, we're very into. What's the word? Accepting it and not, embracing it, embracing that. Yeah, there might be some bad blood off the field, and hopefully it leads to a more competitive and fun game, and everyone could be very mature about it. But it's a very fun time when we have three games that are all going to be extremely competitive, and it's what you want in playoff baseball. So we're very excited about that.
Why are you making
And
reference to 3 games and not 4? What do you mean by 3 games?
the fourth game is us versus for this week is us versus the winner of the Wahoos and Robins.
No, you have 4 anyway. You have 2 in the Legacy, and you have 3 in the Titan. You have
No,
a total of 5 games on the
I
docket.
meant matchups. Three matchups. I'm sorry, three matchups.
But you still have 4.
Right. The Wows Robins play. I'm taking out the Wows Robins in my game. I'm taking that whole bunch out. So you have three matchups this week. Besides the Wows Robins playing game and the winner plays against us, you have three matchups this week between Gordon Companies and the Bombers that are always an absolute
A barn burner. A barn burner.
Right, right. And then we have two matches in the Legacy League that are also going to be extremely competitive, both on the field and also due to some drama off the field, which again, I think if we're all mature men here, we're able to accept the fact that it will lead to a more competitive and hopefully healthy, better game on the field, which I'm very excited to see how it plays out.
So you were
Yeah.
expecting a blowout beforehand?
No, I
If you're
just think
saying
it
now it's
adds.
going to
I
be
think it
competitive?
adds. I think it adds to the intensity. That's all. I don't think I think the talent still. The players aren't changing. I think it adds to the intensity of the game. That's all. I think at least some. That's what you
Well,
want. Playoff softball.
the
You want it
player
to be
the players are slightly changing, but that's okay.
right. There will be some slight roster changes, which we'll get into. Dave, where do you want to start? Where do you want to start with?
Well, where should we start? We have Gershon in the house. I guess we should start with Legacy and then see if anybody else joins. Talk about Titan. But
We could
we've
talk
got,
about Titan. I don't mind.
No, let's start
Whatever
with
you're
Legacy.
about.
No, let's start with Legacy. So, the big story of the week was that Gershon. The big story of the last couple of weeks is that MS Motors Fireballs was climbing in the power rankings. They were really looking very, very strong. And then perhaps the best hitter in the Legacy League, Yisrael Muscat, tears his ACL. Very
And MCL, I think.
Oh, he tore both? He got the results?
I think so. I don't know the exact specifics. I don't know if he wants me to share, but he definitely tore his ACL. Maybe even his MCL. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but bigger for Shalema or bigger for Shalema to.
Bigger
Yes,
Foot
so.
all I know is he's got some rehab, but hopefully he's gonna be good. He'll come back
How long
stronger
is
than ever.
how long is the recovery period from such an injury?
I mean, even we see in the pros themselves, ACLs usually at least 7 months, 8 months
7
at
months.
least.
So next spring
I mean,
is
your surgery plus your rehab.
So you're looking at a recovery time by next spring, more or less. I know that's 10 months, but
Yeah. No, hopefully everything goes well. We all wish him refuah shlema. Hopefully,
How old
we
is
definitely
he?
miss him on the field. 22. He's young.
He's a young guy. He'll quickly inherit his Hashem. So
Something.
we got so Yisrael Muscat goes down, and then Dovi Schwartz, your shortstop, right? He got engaged. Big mazel tov to
He
Dovi.
did.
But
Big monster. We were very excited. Very excited for him.
But ultimately, that means that you guys don't. Not ultimately. There's a lot of about 6,000 text messages and 50 phone calls in between. It ends up that MS Motors is going to go up with 9 against a rising addictive ads team. Why do I call it rising? Because They added a couple of players. They retooled midseason and added a couple of good players. And anytime you're down a man, I don't care who you're playing, you got bigger gaps in the outfield. It's a big disadvantage. So what do you think about the game, Gershon?
Look, I think at the end of the day, we with everything that's been going on, we're coming in with a lot of positivity, a lot of energy into this game. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. The other team, as you said, they've got some couple people that we know that they've added to their roster. It's gonna be a competitive game. It's gonna be fun. Gonna be very, very intense. I'll tell you that from a standpoint. It's gonna be a very, very intense game.
I actually have a question. What's the mentality coming in? Is the mentality coming in? Do you have that sort of, underdog mentality of, oh, the league wrong? Not. I'm not saying this in a disrespect that you're being disrespectful. I'm just curious, like mentality of, oh, the league wronged us and they wronged us, and coming in with like some sort of like a monkey on your shoulder in the sense where like you want to go out there and win anyways, or are you coming in with the mentality of like, I don't care what happened. We still have 9 guys, and we feel like we could beat them with 9 guys. We're the better team even with 9 guys. Like, what's the mentality of your team? What's going on in that WhatsApp chat? Like, I'm very curious a lot of times. Dave always gets upset at me for sometimes hanging around on teams' WhatsApp chats. But the truth is, I just get very curious, like the psyche of the team. It's something I get very curious about. It's like, what's going on in that WhatsApp chat right now? What's the vibes going into the game from your team's perspective?
We got a lot of energy pent up. We're ready to come and play. Look, 9 on 10. It's a combination of both, right? Yes, we feel like at certain situations we got the short straw pulled against us. Like we're getting penalized for our guys showing up and playing. But look, it is what it is at the end of the day.
Shlomo Ross, side note of
actually finish, ready to play.
Finish what you were gonna say. I shouldn't cut you off.
Look, we're gonna come in. We're gonna be ready to play. Look, we're gonna play 9 on 10. We're gonna be ready to play. Let's just put it that way.
Shlomo Ross had a very, very interesting idea, a rule, to address this situation. I don't remember the details, but something like if 7 out of your 10 players, like something really extreme, like if 7 out of your 10 players play every game, you get a bonus ad for the playoffs if somebody has a situation. I don't remember exactly the way he framed it, but
I think he framed it like if you have that situation, because I kind of talked to him about it. I think it was like, yeah, you have something like 7 guys that played at least 7 or 8 games on your team. It was like you can use somebody that has previously subbed for you. Like obviously because those guys have missed 1 or 2 games, sometimes you might not get to the 3 because everybody else has played. That you could use one of those guys that has at least subbed for you can come and be you get a reward in a way, because obviously look, we all pay to play.
What do you think of that? Ali,
we just want to be competitive.
I hear both ways. I at the end of the day, the point of paying is very crucial. It's very important. People pay and they're paying to play softball. As a captain, one of the hardest things is to tell people that we're batting 11. It's not easy to do. Sometimes you might have, I guess one of the negatives of having guys that are so dedicated is that, you're stuck in the playoffs. If one of them can't play because of some freak simcha or something happens, you're sort of in an uncomfortable spot in which you didn't really have the opportunity to have subs play, and that makes it that you need to now bat 11 or bat 12 or slot an extra guy or bring extra guys down, which again, it could be frustrating for team players that pay the regular price and they don't want to play with 11. So, I hear it both ways. There's a lot, and again, I don't really want to get too deep into the weeds of that. I think we could go back and forth on that. I really want to focus more on the matchup situation. But I do hear that, both ways, and I hear it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you have a team that's very dedicated to showing up, that now all of a sudden in the playoffs you're down 1 due to injury and another due to a simcha, and all of a sudden you can't field 10. Again, like I said, captains have a tough job. Part of that job a lot of times is making sure you have enough playoff eligible guys and sort of dealing with the players on your team and explaining them the situation of, oh, let's say one guy can't play in the playoffs. We don't want to play with 9. But it's not easy. It's not simple. It's difficult. There's a lot of challenges, and I guess I hear both sides of it. I would say in terms of the matchup itself, again, I tried asking what the psyche is in the WhatsApp chat. It seems like you're trying to keep that a little bit under wraps, which I appreciate.
Well, you know what, Avi?
I'm not here to cause drama.
No, Gersh and I had spoken extensively over the last few days, but I haven't heard anything. I mean, truth is, I don't know too many guys on Gershon's team, but nobody's reached out to me upset, so I guess the team is feeling pretty good. When there are other teams
Sure.
when they're upset, I'll get texts from 5 different players. Sure, I could go with that.
Do you want the text? I can have them text you. It's no problem.
All right, so there you go. So there you go. I mean, that's what I, honestly, what I expected is what I expect from Gershon's teammates, which I'm hoping is the case. Is you're obviously going to have your players and your captains back. So why I'm even more intrigued about this matchup is that from my perspective, it seems like Gershon's guys are coming with an extra oomph of we were wrong multiple times by multiple people, and I just think that it adds a whole new intensity to the matchup, and I think it'll add to a more competitive game. And I'm excited for that. I like that, and
Great.
As long as it doesn't leak out onto anything inappropriate on the field, I think it'll lead to a really competitive, fun matchup.
I want to add one thing. There's a lot of hot tempers over the last couple of days about different issues, and I was talking to somebody, and I think might have been Gershon, and I said, it's all good. This is why we do this. We don't get that testosterone surge in the office, really. We don't.
We spoke about this.
Yeah, this is why we do it. If it wasn't hot, it wouldn't be fun.
And also, by the way, not to toot my own horn or HSL's horn, but
toot it, Avi.
I'll toot it. To toot my own horn. This is a good sign. It's a good thing. It means that people actually care about the league, and they yes, we're giving out Smash House to the winning team, but it means that people take pride in it. It's very good for people to have an outlet in which they really care about. It's not just some random pickup game they're showing up to. It's something they care about. It's good to have outlets that you care about outside of your everyday life that you could actually escape for a little bit and have some fun. It shows people actually care about what they're doing and care about the league. Yes, they're paying money, and I get that. They don't want to be wrong, but I truly believe it's more than that. I think people actually care about winning. We developed sort of a product in which people are now, viewing as something that really matters to them, and I think it's a good thing from our end. And I'm sort of happy that it's I'm happy from that perspective in a sense. So that should be a great matchup. Jake always brings down the best he could bring down for the playoffs that are eligible. I'm sure he's going to come down with a really good roster. It should be a very fun game. Your game's at 8:00, right? 8:15.
Yeah, we're 8:15. Yeah.
So now
I can tell you also about the competitive about how we feel in this league. Look, obviously we had a chance with the 1 seed. When we lost to a very, very good Black Sox team. Rada, he brought an excellent squad. We had a great game last Sunday. We were upset. We feel like we definitely did not play our best game. We did not play our best game.
I'm laughing for a different reason. Ari Islam was just messaging me. Go on, yeah.
Oh, don't worry. I'm getting it also. It's going back and forth. You'll get it also. I told him to join. Let's see if he gets on.
Okay, yeah, go on.
But no, it was part of it also. We were upset at ourselves that we lost that game on Sunday. We did not play our best baseball game. And then obviously we're now dealt this situation where it's tough. It's not
if Cobra would have lost, would you have gotten the bye still if they would have ended up losing in extra innings?
No, but we would have been the 4 seed. So we would have been playing Annie's Kitchen instead.
Got it.
Okay, so let's get to
so we would have been playing 10 on 10.
All right, so we only have about 20 minutes to go. So let's get predictions for this first game. Gershon, what's your prediction for the game score?
It's going to be a tough fought game. I think we'll come out for the victory. I don't think we're gonna blow them out. I think it's gonna be very close and tense. I'm gonna say a good 7-4 baseball game.
I have it at 6-4.
I would like to see. I would like to see
something like that.
I would like to see Jake's roster before I give a prediction. I know it's no way really.
Do you want to see it? I could send it to you. I have it.
Yeah, he
doesn't say in the game in the roster who's playing. He just sent the player.
Correct, but he has all the players, which you can probably.
You want to read it off? Why don't you read it off to everyone quickly? Because I'm on my phone doing the podcast, and I can make a real score. Because I know your guys, Gershon.
Sure, let me go through his right now.
And then we'll get to the other legacy game and quickly go through Titan.
Okay,
and then
we have Bromberg. He has himself, Schulman, Kaplan, Shua Blackman, Wacholder, Donnie Rosenfeld, Wurzenberger, Taub, Kevin, Ehrenhaus, and Mikey pitching, and Mikey Weiss.
It's gonna be a tough game, and you guys are playing with 9.
Yeah, we're playing with 9.
You know what? I'll take the upset. I say Addictive Ads wins 5-4. I think it'll be a close game. I say 5-4 because there are guys like Donnie Rosenfeld who could really burn you with 3 guys in the outfield. Blackman as well. and I think it may come down to that. I hope it doesn't, obviously, because of all the drama that's been fed into it. But I'll take the addictive ad Vipers to win 5-4. But let's get into game two. Game two is also a very intriguing matchup, and honestly, game two was the matchup that had all that testosterone and that intensity and that behind the scenes drama before this all played out. That I think has been a little bit covered up by all this drama that we have now with this game. In the Annie's Kitchen Grasshoppers and the Jules by DK Hungry Hippos, a lot of drama on the chat, a lot of back and forth between, a couple of the captains and assistant captains and players in both teams. Another game in which, on paper, you would think Hungry Hippos are going to win. However, Annie's Kitchen Grasshoppers, they always come out to play in the playoffs. And, as Dubbin knows from their walk-off win versus the Black Sox last year in the spring, you can never count them out. Joey has a way of his pitching where the ball traveling at 3 miles an hour, but it's difficult to hit. So as long as there's no walks and the ball getting over the plate, I could definitely see that game staying close. I do think, and as much as I love Joey, I do think from what I've seen this season and from from the way the teams have played, I personally feel like Jules by DK will win the game. I think it'll be close. I think the Hippos will probably win something like 6-4, similar, maybe 7-5, 6-4. Like I said, I think it'll be close. I think Joey will keep his team in it with his pitching. I think the Grasshoppers have enough hitting into where they'll score some runs, but I think ultimately Jules by DK Hungry Hippos will win the game 6-4. David, Gershon, you feel free to give your input on that.
Doesn't Joey Katz always beat the Hippos? Isn't that what it is? Doesn't he always beat the Hippos?
I don't know what happened in the game this season.
Joey,
they beat didn't they win like 14-1? That was also
that was part of the drama, right. But that was also the weird game. That was a weird game.
For both teams, it was like a roster. Correct.
Yeah, it was a weird game.
For both teams, they didn't have him.
Yeah.
I mean, I know players on both teams. I'm friends with both teams. I think it's going to be a very, very close games. I wouldn't be shocked if this game goes to extras. I'm going to put that out. I think this game will be very close, and I think we're going to get a walk-off. I think either we're going to get a walk-off win or an extra. One team's going to win extras.
You can't be political here, Gershon. You got to give us an answer. Who do you think's going to win the game?
Nah, I don't want to piss anybody off here.
Come on.
Our team ourselves has already taken too much slack. Obviously already picking against us. Dudley, we love this.
All right. Dudley, what do you think?
Alrighty, guys, I got to head off, but it was
always a pleasure, Gershon. Always a pleasure.
Peace out, guys.
Thanks for joining. The Hippos came into the season like their name, really, really, really hungry. They had such a brutal loss to the Robins in the semis. Now, after Shlomo Ross's tweak of the Grasshoppers, now the Grasshoppers are hungry. But I think, talent-wise, they match up well. I'm not sure who has a better team talent-wise. Who's pitching for the Hippos, by the way? Is Craig pitching?
Craig is their regular pitcher, yes.
Yeah, but he had to leave the game early last week because he has another league he pitches in. I guess for the playoffs will be around. If Craig is pitching, Craig's a pretty intense guy and a good hitter. I'm going to give it to the Hippos because of their hunger. They've been dying to get back to the same spot all year. Similar score as you. I actually think it might be a little higher scoring. I'm going to go 9-7 Hippos over the Grasshoppers.
I think that makes sense. Like I said, the Grasshoppers, Annie's Kitchen have a good team. Jules by DK Hungry Hippos, I think, like you said, are very hungry. They've been top of the league for many weeks. They're the one seed in the league for the first 3-4 weeks of the league, and I think they're here. I think they wanted a little bit more. I think both teams want it bad. Don't get me wrong. I just think they wanted a little bit more, and they have more to sort of prove. As being you need to remember 3-4 years ago, even before HSL took over, the Brian Coe team were always the bottom of the bottom, bottom of the barrel, and they've a little similar to the Annie's Kitchen to some extent. We're never as bad as them, but they've been climbing and climbing and climbing. And I think they're looking to continue to climb, and that's why ultimately I think they're going to win. I think we covered Legacy for this week. Obviously the winners will play the Rides to Fly Black Sox and Cobra Rental Chihuahuas on June 8th. So now moving over to Titan, we could start with the play-in game. We got the Robins and the Blue Wahoos. Crown Care Blue Wahoos. Interesting matchup. The Robins had to rate them the first game. The second game, the Crown Care Blue Wahoos actually beat the Robins. Robins were missing Goldenberg and a couple other players. From what I hear, the Robins will have their full, practically their full team. I think 9 regulars for game 1. So I think they'll be ready, heavy loaded. Obviously, I'm assuming the Blue Owls will be the same. Do you want to give your thoughts on that game, on what you think the playing game will produce?
Well, it's definitely an interesting matchup. Tuvia's been struggling to get not a good roster. His roster's been all over the place this year. So it really, some things depend on his roster. You obviously, I think, Ariel's got the pitching advantage over Tuvia. I think Tuvia will admit that. Tuvia's got a great field behind him. I don't know enough about Tuvia's roster. I mean, you generally have to.
They got a couple of studs. They got a couple of studs in the field. They have a couple of.
You got to play a perfect game to beat the Robins, or a close to perfect game. You're not beating the Robins 7-1. It's very unlikely, at least for a team like the Blue Owls. Maybe the Bombers could, maybe Gordon Companies could, which they haven't this year. The games have been much closer.
Even weekend, by the way. Even weekend, it's very difficult. The Robins have shut down fielding, and Arles he's an A-League pitcher. It's what it is.
He's an A-League pitcher who also utilizes his defense brilliantly.
I will say the Blue Wahoos are similar to the Robins in the extent where their field's also really, really good. They're very athletic. They're very young. They're very fast. My team granted I wasn't there, but we beat them 3-2 last week, and we had almost all of our regulars against them except for me and Noah Aaron, and it was a very close game. I think this will be an extremely low-scoring game. I wouldn't be shocked, David, if it's a 1-0 score.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's how Tuvia's. Hold on. That's the thing. Is Tuvia's team capable of holding the Robins down to 1 run or 2 runs? I don't know.
I think it'll be a 1-0, 2-1 game either way.
So I'm going to take to win.
I'm going to take the Robins to win only because of Ariel Cohn, and that's it. I think they both have great defenses, and Ariel's the better pitcher. I will say about Tuvia, though, is Tuvia against a lineup like the Robins could be very successful. He's very crafty. As long as he doesn't walk guys, as long as he keeps his control underneath, I don't think the Robins will do much off him as a hitter, as a hitting team. However, I do think ultimately the Robins will probably win a 2-1 game, is what I would say. I think it'll be very close.
All right, we got that prediction. So now it's hard to predict the QJL BJL game. You don't know who you're playing.
Yeah, but we could leave that. We could leave that. Obviously, I feel like
Tuvia's second? Does Tuvia have a second pitcher, or he goes 2 games?
No, he doesn't.
How well does he do in back ends of doubleheaders?
I don't know.
You don't know. So, look, if it's Blue Wahoo's second game, I have a hard time seeing them beating QJL BJL. If it's the Robins, I could see them beating you guys. You played close games, and then Ariel seems to have a rubber arm. So,
you never know you never know with the Robins. You never know with the Robins.
You never know with the Robins. Okay, so then we get to Bombers Gordon Companies. Important update: the Bombers and Gordon Companies are playing 1 game this Sunday to whet the appetite, and then the main course will be on June 8th, where they play 1 or 2 games. We'll find out. Oh, that's funny. We have to bring down an ump on a contingency. It's pretty annoying.
I think we've done it before. We've done it last year a few times.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you got, Avi?
It's hard to predict these games, especially because all of their games, especially in the championship last year, have been so close. Like you said, barn burners. They've been battled and close and back and forth, and the intensity is so strong. You feel it in the air. It's very hard to predict. I guess a little bit of the difference this year and last year is that Kaufman is the only pitcher on the roster. There is no Menachem Diamondstein or Daniel Ash or there's no other option. While the Bombers do have Steve Pollen and Koenig, if Koenig is on, if his pitchers are on, he's a very tough pitcher to go against. So that's, I guess, the one difference. In terms of rosters, they're eerily similar. I think the Bombers are down a couple of guys due to injury, but they always come with a really good team. They still got, they're down obviously Shuey Hoffman. I think Shia Weiss is back for the playoffs, so they have him back. They're missing him all year. In terms of Gordon Companies, they have a basically identical team that they had last year, besides for the pitchers. It should be a really close matchup, a really tough matchup. It's a matchup that obviously is happening in the semifinals this year, not in the championships, thanks to yours truly and QJL BJL, beating both of them once and having the three-way tiebreaker. So it's going to be a good matchup. It's one game. I'm assuming it's going to be Pollen versus Yossi in that one game. I think the Bombers will win. I think they'll win because I think they have, we were talking earlier in the podcast about wanting it more. Yossi's won 2 championships in a row now. I'm not saying he doesn't want to win a third and go for the hat trick. I think it'll be amazing. I think it'll be a great story. But I do think the Bombers want back what they think is rightfully theirs. I think ultimately they'll win. I think also it'll be a very, very, very close game. I think it'll be like something like 3-2 or 4-3, another low scoring game. I do think it'll go to 3 games. Ultimately, I think automatically after one team loses, they're just going to come out the second game and win. I think that's how it's going to work. But I will give the Bombers the edge in game 1. And let's see what happens.
You know what's funny you mentioned that? Like, do you think there's something psychological that these guys just want to play 3 games against each other? So there's like a subconscious like agreement that if you lose, you lose. If you win, you lose the second game.
Listen, from a league's perspective, I needed to go 3 games because I'll be able to maybe get videos of half their game because I'm gonna have to get I'm gonna have to be ready for my game right after the first game, and then game 2 I'm gonna be playing game 2 of my semifinals. So assuming even if I do sweep, I need them to go to game 3 to be able to get that game 3 of that semifinal. Winner goes to the championship. So assuming I sweep, which I hope I do.
I hear. All right, let's wrap up here. Just one thing. Gershon Berkler commented, Avi, will you be providing baseballs for the game? We only got 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a message on the chat today. If anyone needs softballs, they should message me so I can drop it off by them before Sunday. Cause I'm not gonna be able to day of, so I'll have to do it later today or tomorrow. Thanks for reminding me.
All right, should be a fun day Sunday. I'm gonna be in Phoenix. I'm flying home from Phoenix, so I'm not gonna be around for the action. It's gonna be sunny. We got to talk to Alex about working on the field Saturday night, maybe early Sunday morning. There's just so much rain in the area. We're using
pretty.
Yeah. No, it's just also one of the things that one of the things also I learned from Ariel Cohen is that when there's a dry base, like it helps, but the base is about as wet as it could be. Do you know what I mean by a base, Avi?
No.
In other words, if it hasn't rained in a week and it rains an inch, there won't be that much flooding. If it rained an inch on Sunday and then it rains and then the surface is clear, but it's still sitting underground.
Yeah. The good news is we're using 3 very tough fields. West Hempstead High School, Inwood, and Woodward Middle they're what we like to call big boy fields. I think our concern, Dave, will probably be more for the kids and the JCBL. That's I think we're gonna have to have Alex focus on more, but we'll see. Alex will check them all out. We'll tell him what to do on Friday, tomorrow, like we did last week. And thank God for Alex. If you ever need anybody to come help you out, clean, fix anything, Alex is your guy. We love Alex, and he helps out Mr. Gottlieb personally. He helps myself, and he helps out the HSL. For all of our stuff. So reach out. I think we have a flyer made for him as well. So yeah, this should be a lot of fun. This is what we play for. It's crazy that we're here already. I feel like it was just yesterday when we had our first introductory podcast for the Spring League. It's crazy how fast it goes. You know what they say when you're having a fun. What does it say? Time flies when you're having fun. And we got 3 weeks left. Quarterfinals this week, semifinals, and championships. We wrap it up and we begin our summer league. And honestly, we got to start preparing for the fall league soon as well. It's crazy to even think about, but we got a lot coming up. We have our men's summer softball league, and in the next month, really, Dave, we really got to start preparing for our men's summer fall softball and men's fall basketball league, which is, thank God, is continuing to grow and grow.
All right, I just got to get through the weekend. Flying with the toddler twice in 48 hours. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Why twice?
Home.
I
just meet there.
All right, thanks, guys.